Welcome back, everybody, to the Active Self-Protection Podcast. I am Mike Williver, and I remain your favorite former Fed. With me today, a new friend of mine. His name is in real estate, and he is a town manager.
Download the ASP Unlimited app for all the content you love from Active Self-Protection and more with no interference from YouTube. No ads, no age gates, exclusive videos, seminars, classes, and more on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Android TV. Hit the link in the description or download ASP Unlimited from your app store today.
He's married with 4 adult kids. The adult kids will come into the equation later on. Foreshadowing. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Love the accent, by the way. Do you realize you have an accent? No, people don't always realize they have an accent.
Do I have a New England accent? I?
Very, very slight, though. You're not plucking the car or anything like that. It's not, not crazy, but it's very slight, that New Hampshire accent. And the Maine accent and the New Hampshire accent are similar, in my opinion. Different from Massachusetts and Vermont. Yeah. I don't know. Do they have an accent in Vermont? I don't even know. You like Bernie Sanders for however many years, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking. So. All right. Anyway, so you wrote in about an incident which you were sort of present at, didn't really take, you were there and ready to take action if needed. But I love this story for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is, hey, it's not a flattering story that involves, your kids kind of acting the way you wouldn't want them to act. And I love the fact that you're willing to call in and talk about it. If the kids are listening, don't worry. We're not going to use your real names, probably, on the podcast. So tell us about yourself a little bit. First of all, what is a town manager? Is that like a mayor, or what does a town manager do exactly?
A little bit, but not elected. So our form of government has 3 selectmen, and the selectmen are elected by the townspeople, and the selectmen are charged with going out and hiring a manager or an administrator, and that person sits at the town hall pretty much 5 days a week and is in charge of all the department heads like police, fire, DPW, transfer station. And that person oversees and administrates the billing and the accounts and the hiring and firing of the people in the town. So I've got about 60 employees under me, but I answer to the selectmen who answer to the townspeople.
Very good. Okay. Sounds like a good system. I now know what a town manager does. And what about real estate? Do you work in commercial, residential, or a little of both?
A little bit of commercial. I've done some commercial in the past. Primarily, we do second homes, primary homes. But in this area, we've got about 10 lakes in about a 15-mile radius. So we do a lot of second home stuff. I've been doing that since 2002, licensed broker from Maine and New Hampshire.
So like second homes being like a vacation home or something like that, or like a half of the year type of deal. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
I've been to New Hampshire, but it's not been since the late 80s. I assume it is still beautiful. It's a gorgeous place, by the way, if you haven't been.
It is. And politically, there's an old joke that's a reporter goes up to an old gentleman during one of the primary years and says, "Do you like so-and-so for president?" And the old man says, "I don't know. I've only met him twice." And it's really the truth. We get to meet candidates. I mean, top end candidates. They'll come to your living room to give a stump speech. So New Hampshire is very blessed that way when it comes to being the first in the nation primary state.
Yeah, I would say for those who aren't politically minded, New Hampshire is the first state to vote in the primaries. Yeah, I never understood why. I understood why the general election isn't called the primary election, right? That's the primary, like that's the one, the top. That's the most important one that actually decides who gets the office. But whatever.
Right.
But yeah, if you Google presidential candidate New Hampshire, you'll see Donald Trump sitting in a diner. You'll see Joe Biden, talking to a group of 5 people, which is so funny that these huge national candidates have these sort of intimate audiences with people up there. But yes, and I think you have the best state. You and Virginia are tied for the best state motto, in my opinion. Are you familiar with the Virginia state motto in Latin?
No, I'm not.
Sic semper tyrannis, thus always to tyrants, and it's on their seal is literally like if it's Lady Justice or some Roman character with a bloody knife and a tyrant with her neck on the her foot on the neck of the tyrant, which is pretty pretty awesome. But then you guys are obviously live free or die, which is a fantastic
live free or die. Yeah. On that Virginia one for a second, isn't that pretty close to John Wilkes Booth? What he said?
Yes, he was quoting. I want to say it's Shakespeare, but I'm not sure, or Julius Caesar or something. But
yeah,
but he didn't write that. That wasn't his original thing. So he just used it for nefarious purposes.
On ours, what I love to tell people, because it is live free or die for anyone that doesn't know, but New Hampshire's motto is live free or die. But do you know the second half of that?
No, I don't know that I do.
Okay, so the brief history on it is General Stark was invited to an anniversary of the Battle of Bennington, and his soldiers invited him to come back. I want to say it was years and years later. He was an older man. He was in his 80s, and he couldn't make it. So he was writing back to them saying that I can't make it. And he writes this long, note back to his troops saying that he has to decline. But at the end of it, he signs that General Stark, live free or die, death is not the worst of evils. And that was it.
Really good. That's fantastic. Yeah.
It is. He was quite a guy.
I was 30 years in law enforcement. I'm here to tell you there are things worse than death, believe it or not. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on to your history, are you a concealed carrier? Are you a self-defense minded person? I assume since you wrote in and since you're familiar with active self-protection, you're more aware of the need for that than the average person. How would you characterize that in your life?
Yeah, it's a good question. Been in real estate since 2002, as I mentioned, and right around 2008 when we had that crash, I needed to pick up other employment, having 3 boys at the time. So I picked an overnight security position at a private school, and then I also picked court security. I got a job doing court security at our county courthouse, and the sheriff and I got along, and one day he just came to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to send you to the part-time police academy," which I did, graduated, and I was a deputy for about 6 years. And I had always been in kind of a shooter before that. Growing up, here in New Hampshire, we would go out shooting quite a bit, but that's where I actually got my training, went on to become a firearms instructor for the academy. And I think I mentioned it in my email. You'll appreciate this, being one of the feds. I did go to 2 weeks down in FLETC, which was amazing. A lot of great training.
Yeah, for those who don't know, FLETC is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. That is an acronym or initialism. I can't remember. I think acronyms are when you put a bunch of the first letters of words together to make a new word, like FLETC. I think that's an acronym. So like FBI, CIA, ATF, those are initialisms. Fun fact, you learn something new every day. So what Dino is telling you is he got to spend time in one of the swampiest, bug-infested parts of the country, enjoying the best chow hall. Honestly, the chow hall there is fantastic, believe it or not.
Yeah.
For what they do and how many people they feed, they do a really good job. So shout out to the FLETC chow hall. good times. So the story you wrote in about happened about how long ago?
Well, I gave you the wrong date in the email, confirming with my sons. It was 2021. I thought it was 19, but it was 2021. Do you want me to start right in on it and go?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
That? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I should also say, you had asked me about concealed carry. Do I carry every day? I do the cardinal sin you and John do not like. I have a weapon within wingspan, but I don't wear one every day, but it's kind of in my go bag. I am going to be shifting that up, and I am going to be finding a holster system. I don't have it on today, but I usually wear a button-down shirt and a sports coat every day. So I'm thinking about getting something that's on my body. I know that you guys would concur that should be done.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to Filster holster systems. Their Enigma holster it's my go-to recommendation to people because I know how well it works. And if you don't know about that particular holster, essentially it's a Kydex holster, a really high quality Kydex holster, and it has its own belt that straps around your waist underneath your pants, trousers, could be gym shorts, anything, doesn't matter. But if you're wearing a coat, whatever, obviously you have a way to conceal it. But the thing about the Enigma is you can wear it with anything. And you don't need a cover garment. You don't need a belt or any of that stuff. So it's worth checking out. Anyway.
All right. I'll check that out.
Your incident, you were actually on vacation when this went down?
Yeah, it was on vacation. And, summertime, getting time with my boys it's a hard thing to do. We're all, they're grown up, and of course I'm working, and so they invited me to this weekend, and I kind of jumped at it. I had the time available, and it was my three boys and my niece, and then my niece's mom. I think that was the amount of us that were there. So we basically had 3 motel rooms, and where we were going was to the ocean, and it was kind of this tough section of the ocean. It's not high end, but it was just rows and rows and rows of motels and tourist trap shops. And right. The reason you go down there is because they've got a place where there's a bunch of rides and roller coasters and food vending and all that, and a bunch of bars. So that's where they decided to go, and we were down there for about 3 days.